Tonight, are James Comey's memos fake? Plus, QAnon exposes whether the dark web HRC video is real or not. Hi, I'm Craig and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I start off each one of these episodes by saying thank you to each and every one of my subscribers. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so thank you so much for your support. If you have not hit the subscribe button already, please come here to this landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you'll be notified because as soon as information is made available to me, I make it available to you. Now, we're going to jump right into the Q post. This is the latest. We're going to talk about each one. We're going to go through each one in a little bit of detail so you guys get a better understanding of what's going on. So we'll start right here with this latest Q post. And there are quite a few. And stick around for later in the video when we cover the Q&A session that Q held on the 8chan board earlier this evening for you guys to ask some very important questions that definitely deserve answers. So please stick with me right here. We'll start. Q posts. This is where we left off here. If you want to go back, watch the latest video before this about the latest QAnon post. Rudy, New York City. Relationships high. Insurance file, quote unquote. Quiet until now. Join POTUS's legal team. Direct discussions available now with Moeller. Enjoy the show. They never thought she would lose. Careless. Q. Okay. This is talking about a lot of things that are going on that are very important to understand. First off, you have to understand that today it was announced that Rudy Giuliani has joined Trump's legal team. Now, why is this important? After the raid on Michael Cohen, it seems very apparent that Trump's legal team has been under quite a large scale of scrutiny by the Mueller investigation, which only would benefit Trump if he's trying to ultimately play the legal system against itself. And how is he going to do that? Well, if the plan is to take somebody like Rudy Giuliani, who has firsthand knowledge of what was obtained on that insurance file through the laptop that was seized by the NYPD from Anthony Weiner, that is very big. Now, if he is pulled in as Trump's legal counsel, that makes him actually a very valuable asset to have if anything were to happen as far as entering things into evidence and entering things into the public record in order to start an investigation into something that may have been attempted to be swept under the rug by former Department of Justice officials such as Andrew McCabe and former FBI officials such as James Comey. So this is very important, guys. That insurance file was claimed to have hundreds of thousands of Hillary's emails privately, a lot of classified emails, including the 33,000. Plus, there is actually quite a huge speculation that there is or was a video on that hard drive of that laptop that exposed some very heinous crimes being committed by Hillary allegedly with Abedin, but none of that's been confirmed yet, although it's been rumored that many NYPD officials, officers who watched it were scarred for life, to say it mildly. Grown men crying, let's put it that way. So, the whole genius behind bringing Rudy Giuliani in is that he has a lot of connections to the NYPD. And if there's anybody who can draw on those connections and make very good legal connections and implications in court, it would be a man like Rudy Giuliani who would know the ins and outs and even have talked to maybe the actual officers who were involved with that case and may or may not be able to enter himself into the investigation. I mean, if they're going to raid his private office, just like they did Michael Cohen's, they may find things that they'll have to enter into the public record, which will automatically have to become a part of the investigation. And Mueller may have to make a complete 180 away from Trump and start directly investigating Hillary. And just as we've seen recently with the letter from Capitol Hill directing the Department of Justice to take legal action against people like Comey, Clapper, Brennan, and others for their illegal behavior, their criminal behavior in leaking classified information on several occasions. There's actually been several congressmen who have come together and put together, I think it was around 11 congressmen who drafted a letter to actually bring indictments against these criminals who have been acting in a criminal manner and fashion in their positions in the government. Now, this is basically Q going on here to say, we're bringing him in. Now he can talk to Mueller. If Mueller wants to go raid him, please, by all means, be careful what you wish for. Then it says, enjoy the show. They never thought that she would lose. Careless Q. So they have no foreplanning or forethought in all of this. Now, responding to his own post here, Q goes on to say, we have everything. How can we use what we know? How do you legally inject, make public, use as evidence? What are you witnessing unfold? Trust the plan. Now, I've talked about this a lot, that the whole purpose behind this Q board is to create a parallel construction. And what does that mean? It's parallel construction for the legal sense. If something is available in the public domain, then it cannot be inadmissible in court. Whereas if it was a threat to national security, it may be inadmissible in public hearings, and it may have to go to a different set of court rulings, somewhere where they may have more ability to twist and bend the facts. But this is really what's very important to understand and take away from this, that they have all the information. So they if there is a video that exists, they have it. They have the hundreds of thousands of emails that have been taken off of Anthony Weiner's laptop. We know that. And it's how do you take that in an unrelated case and then transfer it over after it's been tainted by the people at the FBI like Peter Strzok and Lisa Page and Andrew McCabe at the Department of Justice and James Comey and so on and so forth. Or, I'm sorry, Andrew McCabe was the deputy director, I believe, of the FBI. So either way, how do you make a case for all of this? How do you make it reasonably acceptable to the public that this evidence is just going to transfer right over? Well, I don't know. We're trying to work on that, I think, right now. And Trump is doing everything he can to actually make it effective that these people are brought to justice. And we see the congressman lobbying to have indictments drawn. So the next one, Q responding to himself again. Executive order, treason, update, read, study the executive orders, follow the pen. Executive orders, post pen pics, connect, learn Sky event, Q. Now, the only thing I'm not sure on is this Sky event, but I think I know exactly what he's talking about as far as executive orders. Now, the first time that we saw the pen was here around January 6th, and Q basically points to, he had earlier posts we had seen before, right, in December 12th, right? But let's just take a step back and look at what we're looking at here, okay? So Q is saying, look familiar, note the desk, where is everyone this weekend, God bless. And it's on January 6th when he posts this. Now, what executive order was right around the corner on January 6th? Well, on January 8th, this little tidbit dropped on CBS News where it's talking about Trump signing an executive order on access to broadband in rural America. Now, inside of this order, I think there's a lot of different caveats that actually are expanding, but it's the ability for people to have fair and free access to the internet and not be censored, okay? And this is all going to what is going to happen here. There's a 6-month timeline for this bill to take effect. It was signed approximately 3.5 months ago. And so it would just be coming into action now, where the full blown effect is supposed to take place in 6 months, meaning they're actually trying to open access to the internet, especially for people who are out in rural areas who are trying to produce content that needs to have fair access. And this may be talking about YouTube. This may be talking about censorship. This may be talking about the Wojcicki sisters. This may be all kind of referencing that. But the purpose of the executive order was to help connect rural America via greater access to broadband. And this is definitely something that I think is a part of a larger move toward pushing agendas that fit into other avenues. So if you're trying to stem censorship, you're trying to control the internet, make it a utility, this is where you have to start. You have to start by making it broadly acceptable by judicial or executive order that it is a free, it's a right for each citizen to have access to the internet, right? Not a global right, except, well, a global right, but not in the universal sense where it's not guaranteed to have the government pay for your internet, but they should have equal access at a fair rate, if that makes sense. So certainly, I think that's what Q's talking about when he's talking about the executive orders here. And I'm just trying to figure out what the Sky event is. I've heard a few theories. Nothing's really stuck with me on that. So if you guys have any thoughts, please leave them down in the comments. I'd love to go through them. At the end of this video, I will certainly go back and read every single one and get back to as many as I can. Now, the next one, he's responding to his own post here. He says, Q says, push to divide is strong. Think pre versus post 2016 election. Why? Stay together, stay strong, we the people. Where we go one, we go all, JFK, Q. Obviously, this is self-explanatory. I don't need to explain it to you. But think of the level of divisiveness in our culture pre-2016 election versus post. And think of the vitriol that's on CNN and MSNBC and these lying networks and the Washington Post and the New York Times. I mean, there is nobody out there giving anyone a fair shake. It is just corporate bought and paid for media. There is no fairness in journalism anymore. It's so polarized. You're either for us or you're against us. And if that's going to be the case, then obviously people like us who are patriots are going to take our sides and draw our line in the sand. And we're going to say, no, we're not going to watch CNN. We're going to tune into a channel like this, and we're going to have a more intelligent discussion where we can discuss things openly without having to be subject to the media bias or the propagandized narratives that are being pushed down our throat at every single turn that the media gives us or tries to do against us. And Q's telling us to stay strong. He's saying that we have to stick together, and where we go one, we go all. And this will end in JFK's ideal dream that he wanted. Now, I know JFK has his own moral turpitudes and bad decisions that he made, but think of it this way. He was an agent of change. He tried as an outsider his best to change what was happening with the military-industrial complex, so on and so forth. These are things that Zach talks about from InfoWars, and I know you guys have your own thoughts about him, but I just present every angle because I don't want to get pigeonholed into having one particular thought. I have to hear everybody's thought and then share that, and then we have to kind of go from there. And like I say before, everyone's meant to play a role in this. So you figure out what your role is, and then you contribute in your own way. My favorite way for you guys to contribute is to go down in the comments, but we'll get into another way you can contribute on my Twitter page too, for us to really keep this initiative moving. Now, going to the next one. Big error. Pelosi admits travel to North Korea passed. Archive immediately. They have tried to cover this. Why is this relevant? And it gives a link to this video, and it says these people will lose everything, Q. Now we're going to watch this video very quickly, just the part that is pertinent to what we're going to talk about here on this episode. It is actually a recent video of her on C-SPAN. This is fair use. I am using this in commentary. This is obviously fair use, so please respect that, as I will be pulling this clip and showing it here for you guys to take into consideration as we look at the truth of what is going on here. Let's watch it. But first we're going to read the next one. He says it's around the 13-minute mark here, and I want you guys to really pay attention to this, right? It says the importance of this cannot be expressed more clearly. Archive offline immediately. Offline only. Future events. Intel trip to North Korea will make heads roll. Pompeo, most senior official to visit North Korea since. Future proves past. Now the next one. We'll get into the video here real quick before we get into the next one. Okay.
Thank you. I want to ask someone to follow up on the North Korea talks. Obviously, those are moving a little closer with the revelation of Pompeo going over there. What's your confidence level or skepticism level of those talks right now, and what are realistic expectations? You know, about a month and a half out from a possible meeting. What are realistic expectations?
Well, let me just say that as one of the few members of Congress who has been to Pyongyang, I did a number of years ago as a member of the Intelligence Committee. It's a frightening place. It's a place that is when I've seen poverty throughout America, throughout the world, as an appropriator and visited the world to see our initiatives and how helpful they might be in the alleviation of poverty, the eradication of disease. When I went to North Korea, I saw a poverty of spirit that just was mind-boggling in many respects, and it's a difficult place. Our purpose then was to say, we want to talk about MIAs and POWs. We want you to stop proliferating, selling your missile technology, issues like that, checking in on the hunger situation because their people were starving, even though their motto was self-reliance, they couldn't feed their own people. And so what they told us then, and so what's relevant to now, is they said, hey, we just sell these this technology for money. You want to buy them? We'll sell them to you. And so what my guidance from there to the current situation is the capability of the North Koreans to create either the technology for a weapon, the miniaturization of it, the capacity to launch it, and the intention to do so is something that we need to know as much about as possible. But in addition to that, they're proliferators. And this is what I keep saying to the administration. They are proliferators. So the danger is not just what they might do. The danger is who they might sell one element of that to, which might be enough to endanger the world even further. So hopeful conversation. Maybe Kim Jong-un is ready to change. I wouldn't be too trustworthy of it, but certainly open to it. And what would be success if at least the communication were increased, and there could be some way to stop what could follow if left undeterred, North Korea would continue what it's doing, which is perhaps other countries having access to the technology, the scientific know-how, the launch capacity, and dangerously the intention.
There you go, guys. You just saw that for yourselves. And let's go ahead and look at the next post now, because it's going to make a lot more sense. It says, an AN0N post here, Pelosi said her concerns about the North's proliferation deepened after a trip to the North many years ago. When we went to Pyongyang and we talked about missiles, we talked about MIAs and POWs, we talked about home, we talked about a number of subjects, but about the missiles, because the development of missiles was a national security issue of concern, Pelosi said. They said, look, we just make these to sell. You want to buy them? We'll sell them to you, she said. And that's exactly what you guys just heard. And obviously you have right here where it says Q responding. He says, the words used regarding intel and buying, selling will bury her. Think net worth, classified level highest Q. So he's laid out for us when Nancy Pelosi, this is all alleged, when Nancy Pelosi went to North Korea, she made her millions of dollars, her huge net wealth, through selling or buying missiles from North Korea and either facilitating the sale to other countries or somehow lining her pockets by allowing it to happen. Now, that's what Q is telling us, and that's the highest level of classified intel that's out there. And there you go. I mean, next week's, next month's, next year's news today. It is really incredible. Now, the next one's a call to action to all you autists out there, I believe. This is my interpretation of it so far. But if you guys have a different interpretation, please. I know a lot of people have connected this possibly to even 9/11 and Building 7 and other things. But let me give you my take on what I see here. Engineers, autists, data mine, Nancy Pelosi. I'm not sure what the +1 +5 is referring to yet. Maybe +1 person. I'm not sure where the +5 is, +5 people. You guys let me know what you think in the comments there. But it's saying all architects, build profile 1 XD times 7. Just a all-around profile. I think it's like a meme, call to action for meming. It says all eyes only Q. But if you guys have other takes on that, please let me know. But my take so far is basically put together a profile on Nancy Pelosi, take all of the info that you have here and make a meme war. And that's the best way I can interpret it at this point. So I can tell you guys one of the best things I've done is to have you guys tweet me memes. I love sharing your memes. That's all. It's amazing. So please come here. You guys got to come find my channel. Now, I know a lot of you have already come here, but you can come here and find me at Justin_formed on Twitter and post me your funniest memes about Nancy Pelosi and what's been uncovered today. And we're going to continue to spread these, and we're going to continue to make them go viral. Give me all the best hashtags you can think of, and we're going full speed on Twitter. I don't care. They can ban me or whatever. I'll tweet pretty much anything I think is funny or relevant. So please go and post and tag me in your tweets with your memes so I can share them with the rest of the audience. And you can find me at Justin_formed on Twitter. Now, that's basically my interpretation, but there may be another interpretation. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Now, going to the next one, an AN0N post here. Breaking, man linked to 9/11 attacks on U.S. captured in Syria, Pentagon says, according to Reuters. Now, the AN0N post, lads, why would someone connected to 9/11 be in Syria? Pick related. Then Q response, who captured? Well, this is talking about a man who was captured in Saudi Arabia. And I'm sorry, this article needs to reload, which it will. Okay. German al-Qaeda recruiter behind 9/11 attacks captured in Syria. Now, the article goes on to say that he was captured a while ago. He was labeled as a moderate. And it goes on to say that Mohammed Haider Samar has been arrested by Kurdish security forces in northern Syria, is now being interrogated. It's talking about Samar, how he was in his mid-50s and accused of recruiting some of the September 11th hijackers. Obviously, that is something that we need to look at. He is known by the Syrians as a militant who was captured along with other criminals who were involved in this. But that is definitely the breaking story here that is coming out that Q is referencing. And we'll get into that in the next post. But now he's going to talk here very quickly about the memos, the James Comey memos that came out today. Okay, what they're saying is a lot of different crazy, unreliable stuff. So, but there's nothing there. There's no meat and potatoes there. But they're saying things like he was at dinner with Trump and they sat across from each other and he asked him to be loyal. Just ridiculous things that basically mirror what he said in his book. Nothing bombshell, nothing that's going to really take anyone down. But it says, Q responds to it, says, memos are fake. Guided by Loretta Lynch +3 classified. Think Supreme Court, all written same time, Q. So first of all, what Trump's saying is, what Q is saying here, they're fake because they were all, they've studied them and they found out that the memos weren't written as events happen, as in like a diary entry format where the timestamps would line up and say, this was entered this day 6 months ago, and then 4 months ago this was entered, and then 3 months ago this was entered. No. They were all written at the same time and entered. So it was a recalling. So it was basically probably the notes he made for his book that he ended up calling his memos. Now, he was saying that Loretta Lynch was a part of the group that guided him. Now, when he says, think Supreme Court, my first thought is that Elena Kagan, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and name one other liberal Supreme Court justice, who knows? But if you think about it, those would be the type of people I would say would be obviously guiding him from the Supreme Court, especially Ruth Bader Ginsburg, given what we have talked about previously in other videos regarding her and her writings, her liberal communist socialist beliefs, and her crazy belief in having the age of consent be 12 years old. I mean, these people are sick, okay? That's all I have to say about that. I can't believe that that's a sitting justice. Now, the next post, an AN0N post here, this image, right? And what is this? It says the man linked to 9/11 attacks on U.S. captured in Syria, as according to the Pentagon. And what they highlight in here is something very important. The article goes on to say, we can confirm that Mohammed Hader Samir, a Syrian-born German national, was captured more than a month ago by Syrian Democratic Forces, partners as part of the ongoing operations to defeat ISIS inside Syria. And it says the Syrian Democratic Forces are an alliance of militias in northern and eastern Syria. So I wonder who they're working for. Now, Q, and then this poster reposts the AN0N says, who captured? Then Q says, what makes a good movie? Q. So my initial thought and take on this is pretty simple, that this person has been acting on the behalf of the moderate rebels the whole time, and that there is no differentiating factors between the Free Syrian rebels and ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and this whole war is basically screwed, pardon my French there, from the beginning. So there is no right or wrong answer here, but Q is telling us this is all a movie. There is no real factions of resistance. There's only backed factions who are either getting backing from the Kurds, or getting backing from the Syrian government, or they're getting backing from the Wahhabists in Saudi Arabia. But whatever it is, there's just a conflagration of people, and there's a fight for the free Syria. So you guys have to understand, I think, what people, I think, failed to commonly understand about Syria is that it's a very open, secular, which is not necessarily the best thing, but in the Middle East, it's a very positive thing to be secular, society that is set on the principles of kind of a more Iranian, Russian, communist, socialist background, right? So that's why we despise Assad so much. It's not as much because of the fact that he is as much evil as he is siding with another form of capitalism or another form of economies that we don't endorse and we're not the central bank to. So that is the fight that we're in right now, right? And for those of you who who want to rip on me in the comments, I challenge you to suggest alternatives where we capitulate and allow other countries to secede to other economic systems, and you would not expect to see the downfall of our country economically from that. If you can give me an example where that doesn't happen, or where we don't end up falling under a one world currency that's just like prophesied in the Bible as being Revelations, the mark of the end times, I'd love to hear it. I think that's kind of where I see the blockchain and Bitcoin stuff going. So that's my opinion. And if you guys want to counter that opinion, please leave me your thoughts and comments. I'd love to hear and discuss in a formal fashion, obviously respecting each other's right to have our opinion, but to hear what you guys think, because we're fighting that battle right now, and this is the most important battle of our lives, beside the battle of good and evil that we fight every day for the Lord. Now, that's where I'm going to leave that. The next one, Q is giving us a Q&A. So question and answer time, 5 minutes, Q. Let's get into it. First, HRC versus dark web video, fake news. Q says fake. We control Q. So obviously what he's talking about here is the Q, the fake video that's been on the dark web. I haven't seen it. I don't want to see it. I haven't tried to see it. But like I said, if I were to serve on a jury and I was actually making the decision between guilty or not guilty, I would gladly watch it, as it would be my patriotic and my duty to God to watch it and expose the evil and convict people who are criminals. Now, this doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It means that Q says that the one that's been put out to the dark web is fake, and that this is something that they control and they will control the release of. Next question, an AN0N post. Federal Reserve ending? Q says structure, Q. So basically what he's saying is that they're going to restructure it, which is what I've thought from the beginning. They're going to restructure the banking side of it, and hopefully scale us back off of a fiat currency and make us more into a precious metal backed currency. Hopefully, a reversion to the gold standard would be a great step in the right direction. But I don't know how much gold we have or how much we could actually do that. But it would be a worthwhile endeavor indeed if we could do that. Next one, an AN0N post. When will we find out about Seth Rich in Las Vegas? Now, Q posts something very prophetic here. Seth Rich connected to DNC, Democratic National Convention. MS-13, Julian Assange. Why did Democrats push legal representation on family? June, estimated time of arrival, Q. So this is all going to start dropping in June, that Seth Rich was killed by the DNC or the Hillary, whoever, cabal, allegedly, by MS-13 members that they control. Maybe Debbie Wasserman Schultz was behind that. Then you have Seth Rich was the one who leaked the DNC emails to Julian Assange. And this is why the Democrats have put, or basically forced, Seth Rich's family to retain legal counsel, and the legal counsel is threatening lawsuits for people who even talk about their son, and it's just become ridiculous, a fiasco. Now the next one, will Europe, this is an AN0N, will Europe really be broken from its chains too? Q says worldwide, Q. So everyone is involved in this great awakening. So all of the viewers who are watching us from Sweden to England to the whole UK to Australia to Canada, you guys, we're in this together. This is a group effort. So thank you all so much for joining this initiative. And you guys are a part of this too. So I see you guys. I recognize your dedication, your patriotism, and we all will win this together. Now, the last question in the AN0N post, will election fraud be revealed soon? Q says, yes, midterms are safe. Watch California, Q. So obviously what he's pointing to is the fact that the midterms are going to be safe and fair elections. We've made sure of that. California is the one we have to watch because it's a big blue state, and they're in the thralls of the biggest revolution, I think, that in the history of that state, because they have too many people, they don't have enough money, and things are going to keep getting worse and worse for them as I think they've situated themselves as the sixth largest economy in the world. Just by themselves without counting the United States. And that's how in aggregate we become the most powerful economy in the world as well, is through help by them contributing. But that's what he's pointing to, and we'll have to keep an eye on what comes out with that with Jerry Brown and everyone else. But you guys will have to let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear that. Now, the last post Q puts up, Q&A again, time limited. Keep up the good fight, Q. So the Q&A ended, but there will be one again. So we need to stay focused and be able to jump on as soon as these things become available, so that we may actually figure out what's going on here. Now, again, please come and give me your tweets here at Justin_Form. That would be really cool. But that's going to be pretty much it for this episode. I want to say, if you guys are looking for a way to contribute to the channel, the easiest way that you can contribute, and it helps me out really big time, I appreciate it extensively and immensely. You can come here. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please hit the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you'll be notified. And the second best way, which is my favorite way you can contribute, is to go down and contribute in the comments. Give me your thoughts, theories, insights. You want to share words of wisdom, words of scripture, just whether you think I'm right, whether you think I'm wrong, whatever you want to talk about, go down there and leave your thoughts so that we can go into a larger, in-depth conversation together and continue to develop this general framework for understanding all of these Q posts that come to us pretty much every day at this point. So go down there. Like I say, we have our own QAnon research board at the end of each one of these videos, and it's in the comment sections. And even if you can't comment, please just go down and read through the comments. You're going to learn something you didn't know previously. I guarantee that. So definitely go check that out. And if you're looking for another way to contribute, they're starting to demonetize videos. They're going back. They're retroactively demonetizing me. I need all the help I can get so I can keep this channel running. So please, if you're so inclined, come here to check out patreon.com. That's patreon.com. You can search Just Informed Talk. When you come to this landing page, just click this button to become a patron. And you guys can come check out my rewards and my goal. There's actually a chance for you guys at different sponsorship levels to get different rewards. You can get an email correspondence with me. You can become a featured Patreon patron, and you can earn a chance to get this limited edition Just Informed Talk Is Trump QAnon first edition t-shirt. And that is super awesome for you guys to come check out. I thank you in advance for coming here and checking out this page. And I thank each and every one of my patrons for all their continued support. So thank you so much. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about here before we sign off is God. And why is God so important? Well, we experience it on a daily basis. We go through the highs and the lows of dealing with the fact that the structures and institutions that we put our faith in have continually failed us. Well, that's where God comes in, because God's grace is greater than all of this, and we have to trust in the Lord. You know, I was talking to a really wise man recently, and we were talking about Bible prophecy, just reading the Bible in a way that allows you to see what's prophetic and what is being forecast for the future. And God has a lot of these forecasts. But what took me back in talking to this gentleman was that his faith was that where he didn't resolve himself to the end. He resolved himself toward thinking of positive outcomes. And that really rubbed off on me, because I think that's what we all need to do every single day, in every single way. We need to resolve ourselves to focusing on the positive outcomes. Now, being that I'm thankful for that, I want to read you Psalm 138, a thankful heart. It says, I will give you thanks with all my heart. I will sing your praise before the heavenly beings. I will bow down toward your holy temple and give thanks to your name. For your covenant, love, and faithfulness, you have exalted your name, and your promise above everything else. On the day I called, you answered. You increased strength within me. All the kings on earth will give you thanks, Lord, when they hear what you have promised. They will sing of the Lord's ways, for the Lord's glory is great. Though the Lord is exalted, he takes note of the humble, but he knows the haughty from afar. If I walk in the thick of danger, you will preserve my life from the anger of my enemies. You will extend your hand. Your right hand will save me. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Lord, your love is eternal. Do not abandon the work of your hands. See, that's pretty much it. I mean, those are the words of a thankful heart. Those are the words that we need to live by every single day. We need to call on God to be in our life every minute of every single day, and we need to trust in the fact that we believe in our hearts that we are thankful for the Lord's blessings. And the more thankful we become, the better our blessings become. And it's just a wonderful cycle that we need to get ourselves into on a daily basis. Believing in the positivity, believing in what's good, believing in the fact that there is a positive outcome, not a negative one. So, if you guys don't take anything else away from this episode, please take that away. But I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Again, if you have not hit the subscribe button, please come here to this landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications so that you'll be notified when these videos get posted. That's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching. This has been Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed, and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.